Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action.
Hi, y'all. This is Jerry Williams, a.k.a. TV Jerry. It basically has nothing to do with the subject of this show, which is film, TV, and streaming, but it does relate to next week's guest. 804 Day is this Friday, August 2nd in Shockoe Bottom. I'm assuming you figured out that the 804 is for our area code. It's a day of music performances across multiple stages and a celebration of all things Richmond, including local maker booths, food, drink, and a spotlight on local nonprofits. I'll include a link to 804 Day on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry, and if you listen to the end of this show, you'll find out the connection with 804 Day.
And the one thing they kept saying was that horror films are kind of bulletproof. There's always a market for them, and you don't need stars. And if you can make it cheaply enough, you can make your money back.
That was Mike Taylor talking about the advice he got when he considered making his first feature film. Mike started his career as a producer in L.A., but ended up back on the East Coast, where he started his own production company, and eventually in Richmond, where he decided to write and direct There Is a Monster. We'll talk about his life in L.A. and how he got here.
Sifter Review of the Week.
Those About to Die on Peacock. This is Peacock's attempt to match the spectacle of Game of Thrones, but it doesn't come close. Ewan Rion from Games of Thrones leads this large cast in this epic drama set in the days of the Roman emperors. Anthony Hopkins is it for the first few episodes. To take the citizens' minds off their hunger, they launch spectacles, chariot races, and gladiator fights. The series starts like a cheesy historical melodrama, but eventually gets more gripping. There's lots of treachery and unbearable cruelty, passion, and drama. Sadly, the visual effects, especially the races, are noticeably horrible. 5 of the eps are directed by Roland Emmerich, who did Independence Day and Godzilla, but the emotional heft doesn't materialize until the other director starts to work. The ending episodes ramp up the evil to provide several shocks. Some of this uneven series is trite and some is trashy, but it ultimately provides a melodramatic look at violence and ambition. I gave Those About to Die 2.5 out of 5 stars. So, Mike, according to your bio, you began your career as a director of photography at 11 years old. Was that film or video, and what's the story behind that?
Yeah, well, a buddy of mine in, I guess a 7th grade or something, he had a Super 8 camera.
Okay.
And he wanted to be the director, so we brainstormed stuff, and I ran camera. And actually, one of the films we did that I say I shot, I was just a camera on a tripod, I pushed record. It was like I did anything. Kodak had a teenage filmmaker, I can't remember what it was called, award of some kind. It got an honorable mention.
Speaking of kids, I know at one point you went out to L.A. to work on spots for Disney?
Yeah, I was working out of San Antonio, and I kind of had a dead end there. So I moved to Los Angeles because I met a guy, and he did TV spots and trailers for Disney. I worked on stuff for like Turner and Hooch, Dead Poets Society, and things like that.
And what were you doing on those?
Back then, the big thing was audience reaction commercials.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. You go to the theater when they're coming out, having watched it, and say, "Wow, this movie was incredible."
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You worked Swing Gang on a Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah.
Because you needed cash. First of all, Steven Seagal, well, we'll get there, but you want to explain what a swing gang is.
Some movie credits will have it, some won't. It's more like a set decorator. But what we did was there were 3 or 4 of us. We rode around a big truck, and we would go to like the prop house at Warner Brothers and pick up a couch and some tables and things like that, or whatever we needed. And then we'd take it to set, and we would bring it in. We would set it up where they wanted us to be set and set everything up. When they were done shooting, we'd go back and get it and return it.
And that's what a swing gang is.
That's what a swing gang is.
Do you know why it's called a swing gang?
I do not know. I should know this, but I don't know.
Huh. And did you actually get to interact with Mr. Seagal at all, or were you just swinging?
I saw him on set and things like that. And I have a book somewhere where he signed, at the end. He gave everybody a little pamphlet, Zen and the Art of Archery, I think.
I was going to say, to have something to do with Buddhism.
Right.
Of course,
so, yeah, that's before his reputation kind of
went south. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you produced some shows for Showtime?
It's called the Showtime 30-minute movie. And a lot of these films won Best Short Feature for Oscars. And so I produced 2 of them. And actually, the second one that I produced was on the short list for the Oscars, because many people don't know this, but before the Oscars come out, before the actual nominees come out, they whittle the list to like a short list of, say they're going to nominate 5, but have a list of 10.
Right.
And so I was on that list. Yeah. And it did get a Cable Ace award nomination back then when the Emmys wouldn't accept any programming from cable. So
Oh,
cable
wow, yeah.
created their own award, which is called the
Right.
Cable Ace Award.
Right, I remember that. What else did you do fun and interesting out in LA before you headed back to the East Coast?
After I was making the Showtime films, I got hired at a company called Harmony Pictures. They were the biggest, maybe the biggest commercial production company in the world. My biggest job was for the GMC Jimmy truck. It was a $1.3 million commercial where we bungee jumped a GMC Jimmy off a bridge in West Virginia.
Wow. And it worked, I guess. It didn't break the
It
bungee.
did. No one died. Yes.
Oh, good. So how did you get back to the East Coast?
Because I wanted to write. I had creative in me and it wasn't being expressed at all. So I said, screw this, I'm going to go be a writer. And my first writing gig was like $3,000. I think this is great. It was also my last writing gig.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I briefly lived in Richmond for like 9 months. I didn't stay long because I went back to Texas and worked for an ad agency for a year. Didn't really want to be in Texas anymore. So that's when I came back. And that's sort of like my more modern late 90s till now kind of thing.
Surprise guest drop in.
Speaking of Richmond, somebody dropped in from Richmond who wanted to say hello.
Well, I don't know who that imposter is doing this podcast, but we hear that there's this really up and coming indie director from Northern Virginia who's probably going to go big time when he gets to Hollywood, of course.
For those who don't know, that is Bunt Young, and he's known for his impressions, and that was... What do you think, Mike? Did that sound like me? That was supposed to be me.
Pretty close. Good job. Hey, Bun, how are you, man?
Hey, Mike, I'm getting over a cold, so that had an impact, I'm sure.
Footnote.
Bunt Young is a local cinematographer whose work also includes shooting B-camera for major films and TV shows. So, Bunt, how did you meet Mike?
Well, I believe we met in 97 or 98. Mike was from Northern Virginia, had lived in Richmond for a while and was trying to build a reel as a director, particularly in comedy. I think it was that lottery spec spot we did, and we shot it on 35.
Yep.
You had gotten a script that was rejected by the agency for the lottery. The spot came out really well, and I remember they were really pleased with it. If I'm not mistaken, I think they eventually aired it.
Back then, you could do spec spots and air them like at 2 a.m. on some crazy little station somewhere to qualify for the Addy Awards. So they did that.
Footnote.
The Addy Awards is a national organization that recognizes creative advertising.
That spot turned out really well. And the other spot we did was for Nokia. We shot at the
Diamond. Oh, that's right.
Diamond. Yeah.
That was a clever spot.
I did the same thing. I put it on Channel 20 like at 3 a.m. in DC for like $35. And that qualified it for the Addy Awards. And it won a DC Addy Award and it won a regional Addy Award.
I remember that now. It was when the Nokia phone came out with something so small it could fit in the crack of your butt. And that was kind of where we were going.
That's exactly what we did. But it's funny because it's not funny, haha, but that lottery spot, which the agency loved, from those 2 spots, I got absolutely 0 work.
So, Bunt, what else did you do with Mr. Taylor?
I remember there was an ad campaign we did for the National Guard. And it was when you were working for an agency in DC that had that account.
We traveled all over the place.
We went all over the place to armories in not every state, but a number of states.
Right.
To film testimonials of National Guardsmen and women. I think the first one out was in Helena, Montana. And we get to the armory in Helena, and the commander said, "This is not going to happen. The person you spoke with didn't follow protocols," or something to that effect. Your face perked up and your hand went up and went, hang on a second. We've got paperwork and all of that. And you managed to rescue it from not being a job to being a job.
Do you remember that, Mike?
I don't remember that. I remember walking through in the forest where after the forest fire had gone through and doing like a walk and talk with somebody with blackened trees and stuff. I don't remember that at all.
So how's it been working with Bunt through these projects, Mike? What does he bring to the table besides his great impressions?
No, it's great. I mean, Bunt's got a great eye, obviously. He knows how to get it on film or on digital, on zeros and ones now.
We had some adventures. I wish you the best.
Well, Bunt, thanks for dropping in. It's great to see you with all your hair now.
I know, I'm a chia pet.
You do indeed.
Thanks for inviting me, Jerry. And Mike, best of luck as always, and hope to see you soon.
Good seeing you.
Bye-bye, Bunt. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So you moved up to Northern Virginia and started Potomac Pictures. Is that where the next step is?
Well, yeah, I worked for L&O Advertising, which is when we did that stuff out west and all that other stuff was through L&O. When I moved to Richmond in 2003, which was nice. And then I ran a few Virginia Lottery jobs through my company because heaven forbid that the agency for Virginia Lottery would hire a Virginia director.
Yeah, I know. That was always a controversy for a while. Yeah.
It's still a controversy.
Is it really? Okay.
Well, it's not a controversy. They just decided not to hire anybody. And then I got hired to direct the national TV campaign for Veterans Health Administration. I had a lot of downtime between those jobs. And so I had purchased a Canon 5D Mark III camera. And I started making short films. And the first short film I made was back then, Instagram they had a 15-second limit on video back then.
Right.
So I made a 15-second sci-fi horror film. And I entered it in the James River Film Festival, had a micro shorts category or something. I entered it and got in. So kept making short films. Then the pandemic hits. I made 2 films during the pandemic. I made one that got into the Studio City Film Festival out in Los Angeles. The other got into like 5 festivals, including the Roma Short Film Festival in Rome, Italy, where it won Best Comedy.
And that's Love COVID style, right?
Let's Love COVID style, yes.
And those are on your website, so I can put a link to those up too,
Yes.
which is great. You didn't by any chance go to Rome for that, did you?
I did not, no, because it was in the middle of the pandemic. And then while all that's going on in my business, the Potomac Pictures nothing's happening during the pandemic. So 3 years ago, I decided I've made enough short films. What else can I do? Let me try and make a feature film.
There you go. Enter There Is a Monster. What was your concept behind that?
The inspiration is my sister Terry, who became ill from this disease, which I don't want to give away anything, but she became very ill with this disease.
Hence, that's why you dedicated the film to Terry. I was going to ask you who that was. Now I know.
Yeah, that's my sister. And what happened was I'd gone to the American film market virtually. And the one thing they kept saying was that horror films are kind of bulletproof.
Right.
And there's always a market for them. And you don't need stars in a horror film. And if you can make it cheaply enough, you can make your money back. I started working on the script in June of 2021. We shot in December of 2021. Shot for 10 whole days.
Well, it wasn't a big cast, and a lot of locations. I'm sure that was intentional, but that made it a little easier.
Yeah.
A question on that movie. The lead character in the movie is a photographer, and you have a whole studio to shoot in. Was that based on a real person, or did you just have a free studio and said, let's make him a photographer? Or how did that happen?
Oh, no. I paid for that. I rented that studio.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I had, I think, 4 locations. One was a restaurant called Southside 815 in Old Town Alexandria. I used to go to that bar all the time. I lived right next door to it. So the guy remembered me, and so I got that for free.
Oh, wow. That's good.
I needed a doctor's office, and I found this Bradley Medical Building. It was really, really expensive. So I went to the building and found out the owner, and she met me there, and we talked, and she let me have that for free.
Oh, cool.
And then the week before we were shooting, I still didn't have a house. I was trying to find these Airbnbs that I could rent, and they kept dropping, they just falling through. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday before we were shooting. I didn't have the house. And a buddy of mine put a thing out on Facebook, and I contacted this guy, and wonderful house out by Great Falls, got it for free.
Oh, great.
So the photo studio I'd found off of Edsel Road in Alexandria, and I talked to him, and we worked it out, and then I rented that from him. And he was a great help because he let us use all his gear, everything we were doing, make sure that a photographer would do what we were doing. So that worked out really well.
In the film, the character makes most of his living taking corporate portraits. It felt like those were real people, not actors, the people who were posing, because they didn't have much to do but stand there. They were real friends of yours, I'm assuming?
A couple were friends of mine. A couple were people that I sort of found online.
And another question I noticed, I always take notes when I'm watching these things.
Sure.
A license plate, AWIGON, a Wigan, is that some kind of reference or Easter egg, or did that just happen to be the license plate?
No, that was just a buddy of mine's car.
Oh, okay.
It's a widgeon, which is a duck, and he duck hunts.
Okay. Well, you should figure out a way to work that as an Easter egg into the...
I probably should have, yes. I wasn't that clever. There are a lot of things, me making this first movie was also to see if I could do it. And I was trying to do it for just a little bit of money and a little bit of time, and a lot of compromises.
Sure. How big was your crew?
Crew was really small. I had a DP, an AC. I had a crew of like 8.
Yeah, okay, that's decent
Yeah.
size for a small
Which I
business.
kind of like because you can move a lot faster with a small crew.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
know, I did those big commercials with the Veterans Health Administration. We have a crew of 40 and we move, but not fast.
No, you never do. There is a creature. I don't want to go into more detail than that,
Right.
but he has some effects. What kind of effects work did you get done, or how did you make that happen?
Two things. One is ahead of time, I was talking with some effects people saying, I want to alter this after the fact. What should I put him in? A green suit, a black suit, whatever. So we put him in a black bodysuit.
Right.
Now, I admit for about half the shots, I cheat. I don't do anything to it because it's background. I figure I don't have to do much up to it. But when it's more obvious, I had because his name was Kazoo. He's a VFX guy out in Los Angeles. He answered a Craigslist ad that I put out.
Oh, wow.
And he has worked on Harry Potter and Star Trek and things like that. So he's really good. But finding his time, getting his time was the challenge. Of course, now it's easier with AI. I could do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's true.
Back,
Yeah.
You know, just a few years ago, it was much more difficult.
So he starts seeing this mysterious man, and then he starts having these other symptoms. Was that something you based on some kind of medical research, or was it just all horror stuff?
The symptoms are all symptoms of a particular disease.
Aha, okay.
And that's what I base it on. So to me, the monster represents that.
I see. Okay. And people will have to watch it to find out what that was. Speaking of which, it is available to watch. Can people watch it freely?
It is. It came out January 30th on 20 platforms.
Wow.
Now, in the past month, it's been on Tubi, the Roku channel, Fandango at home, all for free. So that because they're ad supported. And that's the thing real quick about my film is that I tried to be horror, okay, and I am under the horror umbrella, but it's on the fringe. It's more of a thriller, whereas most horror you think of blood all over a body or heads cut off,
slashers or whatever.
Not that kind of a movie. I premiered it for cast and crew, investors, and friends at the AMC in Shirlington in Arlington, Virginia. And when the film was over, I had I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but 3 or 4 people were crying.
Wow.
So I'm not sure what to take from that, but I got an emotional reaction from people.
Now, so let's go back, thinking over your whole career, doing all these tons of commercials and your shorts and your features. What is the biggest disaster you ever had as a producer where you got there and suddenly, oh my God, something horrible happened or went wrong or wasn't available?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have one of those. I've got a great one.
Great. What was it?
I was producing a film, one of the Showtime films, the one that was nominated for a Cable Ace Award.
Okay.
We were shooting at the Watts Towers in South Central Los Angeles.
Right.
It was supposed to be a golden hour sunset shot. I showed up at location. The maps were wrong.
Oh.
So I show up at location. The wardrobe truck and makeup is lost. The camera truck is lost. Everything's lost. My star is standing there like, what am I supposed to do? And we didn't have signatures, which you need in Los Angeles from their surrounding neighborhood, so you can shoot at night.
Uh-huh.
So there's 2 things we had that were really good. One is you pay the police their motor fee, which is cash, and they're happy. The Fruits of Islam did our security. I mean, everything was just terrible. It was just the worst situation ever. And yet it was the shot that we got of Watts Towers is the most beautiful shot in the entire movie because the sun had gone down and we put lights on it and it looked great. But it worked out.
Good, good. I guess you haven't learned your lesson because I know you have 2 more features planned. So what can you tell us about those?
I had a feature I came up with years ago called F-150.
Is that the truck?
I owned a F-150 truck.
Okay.
So the concept was an ad agency creative gets laid off. He's underwater with his house and he loses his job. And it's like his severance will let him live for maybe 2 or 3 months, or he looks at his truck and thinks, well, maybe I can live in that. That was the original idea. I changed it this year. The working title right now is Finding a Way. My main character now is a woman. Same situation. Instead of living in a truck, she decides to live in her SUV.
Okay.
And rediscover herself. So that's the one I'm working on to make next. Another film that's not on the website is a horror film, another horror film, which I was going to do, but I want to make Finding a Way first. So,
okay.
And the horror film is about a mysterious monk who shows up at a Catholic church and priests start dying.
Oh.
On the website, there's a film called, I think, Lookout, which is one I've got to, when I get a chance, I'm going to rewrite. And I think there's going to be some interest out west. So maybe that's something I can sell.
So when you're not producing, what do you like to watch? What's on your agenda right now?
I love the bear. Okay.
This is the third or fourth week in a row that I've asked that question, and everybody says the bear, and I'm apparently the only person in the world who doesn't like it. But we'll just keep going.
Well, I love this. I love season 2 much more than 1 or 3. Okay. I like sci-fi stuff, so I like Silo. Did you see Silo on Apple?
Couldn't get into it. Tried it.
Really? Okay. Slow Horses with Gary Oldman, which is another Apple show.
Couldn't get into that one either. It was a little too slow. Some of these I'll give 2 or 3 apps, and then if it doesn't work, I just nope. Sorry.
Right. I watched The Boys, but it's just sort of there.
I love The Boys. I think it's the most fun on TV right now. It's the most fun streaming show on TV, I think, right now.
And then Severance. I love Severance, but I don't know when. I think it's coming out next year sometime.
New season just got announced, so yeah, there's a second season.
January or something. It's just, they had problems besides the strike. They had creative problems with Severance that I read as far as coming to the second season.
Couldn't relate to that one either. So we obviously have very different tastes.
Different tastes? What do you like?
Well, I love The Boys. I've been watching that. We just finished. Well, see, if you've been to my website, you see I review something almost every day. So I see a lot.
What do you like? Reviewing it and liking are two different things.
That's true. Well, we just finished Mary and George on Starz, which is pretty wild. It's Julianne Moore playing the mother and Nicholas Galsantine, this very handsome hunk. He's been in a bunch of teen movies, as her son, who she trains or grooms to seduce King James, who was an out gay. And it's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild show. But I'm going to go see Longlegs tonight, which is supposed to be
Nick Cage,
the hot, scary movie. So we'll see how that works out.
Right, Nick Cage. The last Nick Cage movie I saw that I really liked was Pig.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, of course I did. I reviewed it. Yeah. Well, Mike, this has been interesting and informative, and I enjoyed watching the movie, and people will be able to see it, which is kind of the best part about this whole thing.
Right.
And we'll keep in touch, and hopefully when you've got one of these others you mentioned, we'll have a chance to talk about that one too.
That'd be great. I appreciate it, Jerry. Thanks a lot.
That was Mike Taylor, who wrote and directed his first feature, There Is a Monster. I'll have a link to the movie so you can check it out on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
Coming soon. In theaters.
Trap. The latest from M. Night Shyamalan puts Josh Hartman and his screen daughter at a pop concert that goes sinister, also featuring 50s heartthrob Hayley Mills. Harold and the Purple Crayon. This starts with an animated boy who can make anything he draws with a purple crayon come to life, but he ends up in the real world where his gang includes Zachary Levi, Little Ray Howery, and Benjamin Batani. Kneecap. This import follows a Belfast teacher who connects with a rap duo who rap in their native Irish. This leads to a movement to save their mother tongue, kinda based on reality. Cat Video Fest 2024. As if it weren't enough on the web, coming to the movie theaters is this compilation of cat videos, with part of the profits going to cats in need. Last Summer. This French import is about a lawyer who gradually engages in a passionate relationship with her husband's son from a previous marriage.
TV and streaming.
Elizabeth Taylor, The Lost Tapes on Max. These newly discovered interviews offer unprecedented access to the star's personal archive. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder on Netflix. Emma Myers from the show Wednesday stars as a straight-A student who investigates a murder. Duh. Industry on Max. Season 3 of this drama about a group of young bankers in London. Pachinko on Apple. The saga of this Korean family continues. Lord of the Rings of Power on Prime. The second season is said to be darker than the first. The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. This is the fourth and final season of the comic book fantasy, with new talent including David Cross, Nick Offerman, and Megan Mullally. Emily in Paris on Netflix. Just in time for the Olympics, our fashion lover is back. Part 1 with 5 episodes drops this Friday, and Part 2 comes later. Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. Also Season 4 with new cast members including Eva Longoria, Molly Shannon, Eugene Levy, Zach Galifianakis, and Melissa McCarthy. Next week, we examine a very different aspect of the TV biz with Alex Martin, owner of Digital Video Group, a leading supplier of broadcast and production systems all over the country. I promise it'll be more interesting than it sounds. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sifter, including literally thousands of reviews,
visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.